Hi everyone, and welcome to the Southern Regional Webinar Food Day. We are really excited to have you on the call, and we're excited to have several really great panelists telling you about their activities from last year and how you can use Food Day in 2013 to reach your goals. So I just wanted to take a minute to introduce you to this webinar platform if you haven't used it before. It is called GoToWebinar, and we will be recording this call, and we'll send around a link to the recording after the call within a week. So using GoToWebinar, during the presentations, if you have any questions or comments, you can type them into the dashboard that you see on your screen, and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. During the question and answer session, you can also press the raise hand icon on your dashboard, and we'll unmute you. If you do want to be unmuted to make a comment, just make sure you enter your audio PIN if you're joining by telephone. And this seminar is recorded, as I said, and we'll send a recording link around. If you have any questions, please contact us at foodday@cstinet.org. I want to quickly mention that we also have a series of webinars called the Food Day Leadership Series. Our next one is on April 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about building coalitions with Michael Dimick from Roots of Change in California. He has a long career of building coalitions across the state of California and nationally. And this leadership series is meant to build the capacity and skills of our network. So it's meant to give you a conceptual overview of some of these concepts, but also some practical advice from people who have been in the field for a long time. May 15th, we'll be talking about community change. June 19th, policy change with Mark Winnie, who's a consultant to many food policy councils across the country. And in July, we'll be talking about making your point to the media. So I hope you can join us for some of these upcoming webinars. We also do have one regional webinar on Wednesday. We've had 3 others already, including this one for the Northeast, the West, and now the South. And on Wednesday, April 3rd, we will be having our Midwest webinar at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you have colleagues or friends who might be interested in joining that, we will show you the link for that webinar at the end of the call. So just to quickly run through the agenda, I will pass it over shortly to Haley Galuli, who's our other project coordinator for the National Food Day campaign. Then we're going to hear from Rene Teran, who's the Well-Fed Savannah publisher. It's a magazine out of Savannah, Georgia, but he's very connected in the Savannah food community and pulled off the largest Food Day event last year, the Food Day Festival in Savannah, which had upwards of 15,000 people attending. Then we'll hear from Jenga Mwendo, who is with the Lower Ninth Ward Food Access Coalition, among a variety of other roles, and she's successfully engaging the Lower Ninth Ward community and trying to bring a supermarket and as well as other food access initiatives to that area. And then we're going to hear from Stacy Lux from Slow Food Richmond, who has done a wonderful job of bringing together a diverse coalition of Food Day leaders in her community, and is going to talk a little bit about how she built that community and what they're planning to do this year. So at the end of the call, we'll have some time for Q&A, so please do hold your questions there, or if you have them during the presentations, just type them in and we'll try to address them. So now I'm going to turn it over to Haley Galuli, who's the project coordinator with the Food Day campaign, to give us a brief national update on Food Day.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. As Catherine said, I'm Haley Galuli, one of Food Day's project coordinators, and basically Catherine's counterpart in several other regions of the country. So we wanted to start off this regional webinar by giving folks a quick national update on the campaign. We're really excited to be entering or beginning the 3rd year of the Food Day campaign. Since 2011, we've seen a huge growth in the size and strength of the Food Day network across the country, and much of the strength of the campaign comes from local and regional coordinators like all of you who are addressing the food system issues in your community. So last year we were thrilled to see over 3,200 events take place in all 50 states, representing an increase of about 1,000 events from 2011. And we're excited, we're looking forward this year to growing that number even further as we engage more people and more constituencies in building a better, a healthier, a more sustainable, and a more affordable food system in the country. So in terms of several resources I wanted to make everyone available about, what you see on your screen right now is the Food Day 2012 campaign report, which we released just a few weeks ago. The campaign report summarizes a lot of those 3,200 events that took place. So whether you're just getting started with Food Day or you are a multi-year organizer, getting ready to organize this year, the campaign report is a great tool to familiarize yourself with what happened, as well as share with people who you are recruiting to get on board. And that can be found on the resources section of foodday.org. Next, these are some publication materials from various events that took place. Several of these will be spotlighted here, but we saw everything from a Big Apple Crunch in New York City that engaged over 400,000 people in New York City in a contest to create the biggest simultaneous biting into of apples in the world. We had Food Day fairs, as Catherine said, the Savannah Food Day Festival that was our largest event, art shows, movie screenings, events at schools and in school gardens, pretty much everything that you can imagine. Another resource that is a great way to get your organizing started and to engage new partners is the Food Day 2012 Press Archive, which is also available on the resources section of our website. Our team went through and pulled together what we felt were the best press mentions from Food Day events last year. And this is a good way if you're trying to show someone the scope of what happened last year or understand it yourself. You can see a variety of news articles about Food Day events. Finally, in terms of other resources for organizers, this is a page from the Food Day report, and at the bottom of your screen you'll see a small selection of the resources that we have available to Food Day organizers. One of our goals is to provide all of you with the tools that you need to organize great events. So all of these are available on our website now, and they include the guide for organizers as well as the guide for schools and campuses, the Food Day cookbook, the school curriculum, as well as various promotional materials like the Food Day poster and the I Eat Real sign.
Great. Thank you, Haley. And if you do have questions about local organizing or need some help getting started, please feel free to reach out to us. You'll find our contact information on the website, foodday.org. And we hope that you do reach out and tell us what you're thinking for this year, and we'd love to try to help you in any way we can. So now I'm going to turn it over to Rene Teran in Savannah, Georgia, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what they accomplished last year.
Great. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you sound great.
All right, great. Let's see here, and is my screen coming up yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a way to make it a little larger? Oh, there you're doing it.
Okay, great. All right, so you can see the Food Day Festival outline on the screen now?
Yeah, you may need to zoom in just a little bit for people.
Okay, sure. And this was just kind of more for general reference. So today I thought one of the things that a lot of people come to me about is, how are you able to pull off such a large event? And what are some of the kind of things that go behind the scenes? So I thought I'd kind of quickly take you behind the scenes of last year's 2012 Food Day Festival and give everyone a kind of quick overview on sort of how we go about getting from point A to point B. So first off, the whole thing about the Savannah Food Day Festival is we really wanted it to be well similar to our publication, Well Fed Magazine, which is really, it's just a platform, the magazine, that we use to raise awareness for food issues along with many other topics. So the idea with the Food Day Festival was, while we weren't necessarily constructing any of the programming ourselves, what our task was to simply create a venue and coordinate a venue so that we could bring in all these other nonprofit organizations and all these other people that were doing great things in our local food system and just simply create that venue, manage that venue, and try to bring as many people out to the event as possible so that we can expose them to the various messages that all of those organizations have. So our first step, which first off I got to say, really a lot of this is based off of the organizer's guide that CSPI provides. It's a great guide, and so that was really the blueprint for the outline that I'm about to show you right now. So the first step in getting this whole Food Day Festival started is really with our very first outline. This outline includes everything from, let's see if I can get this out of the way here. So the outline would include, sorry, having some technical difficulties. There we go. You know, so date, location, upcoming board meetings. We've got a timeline stretching all the way from the first board meeting, going all the way down to, you know, logistics rehearsal, final press release setup. We then create our festival schedule, which is really just based on the previous year's festival. And then one of the, over here you can see we wanted to address particular issues, which was creating the exhibitors area and having the workshops. But what was different this year with being able to coordinate a festival of this size was really breaking it down into committees. So we had a health committee, the farm and garden committee, there's a community outreach, and then administrative and logistics committee. So with a festival of that size, that's something that became very apparent, which was that we really had to sort of compartmentalize and break down a lot of these big tasks. So in order to do that, in order to break these tasks down, what was key was finding the right people for the board. What you can see here is a list of the advisory board members for the festival itself. And you'll see that I highlighted everyone's titles, because what's really key to a successful board is, well, really trying to get the most well-connected people you possibly can, the people who have the most resources. And so you'll notice that the people on this board are everyone from owners and chefs, directors. We have a coordinator with Chatham County. We've got people with the hospital, director of marketing for the TV station, founders of various nonprofit organizations. You'll notice also we've got the president of the local PTA. We've got our school nutrition coordinator for the entire public school system. So this was really key in being able to achieve these goals and have people who could really accomplish some very big tasks, was first trying to get this board put together. So then the next step was then to get everybody familiarized with exactly what was going to be going on with Food Day and what their tasks were going to be. And so that really just started with this very simple initial slideshow that we gave to all of our board members, really just sort of bringing them up to speed with everything about Food Day. And they also received this in addition to the organizer's guide that CSPI provides. And this is a brief overview of last year's festival as well. This is kind of something sort of interesting to note. A lot of people wonder exactly what does a festival like that cost. Now this, of course, is for the 2011 festival. Some of you may notice that we went very much over budget. But we were able to fix that in the 2012 festival. So this kind of gives you a brief sort of idea of what it takes to sort of familiarize the board, get the board working. There we go. Okay, so the next step then was to arm these board members. And so the first step is to make sure that all the board members have a unified voice when they're going out and talking to people about Food Day and about the Food Day Festival. So it becomes very important to create your talking points for the board. So this way everyone kind of has a clear understanding of the who, what, where, when, and why. And then after that, you go and you do your press release. I believe this was maybe our first or second press release here. You jazzed it up with some photos. And then after that, the next step, we then had to create our media kits. So these are also very helpful, I believe, very important. Of course, you're limited by whether or not you can have a graphic designer help you. But these were really crucial in delivering the message of the festival to potential exhibitors, vendors, and especially volunteers. And then a variation of that media kit is also then sent out to potential sponsors. And of course, without them, none of this would be possible. And so this is what we send out very early in the year to all potential sponsors so that you can go ahead and start getting commitments. And so then the next step after that, unfortunately, I can't show you a slide of last year's website. We've actually taken the website down and we're recreating it from scratch. But so then the next step was to create the website, and then on the website we had all the online forms, vendor forms, exhibitor forms. And so once you have all that constructed, then the next step was, well, basically you have someone manage all of the incoming information. And so this is our actual spreadsheet that we kept for the 2012 festival. And these were all the different exhibitors and vendors that we had. As you can see here, we had the entire farmers market joined us that day, food vendors. So you can see there's quite a bit that goes into it, but when you stay organized and compartmentalize it, it's not so bad. So then another sort of behind-the-scenes look at the Food Day Festival. Here's our budget spreadsheet. You can see this year we only went over budget maybe about $1,000, so that wasn't too bad. This kind of gives you an idea of where the money goes. You can see $200 for hay. Every little thing needs to be accounted for. So basically, as the sponsorship money comes in, that really dictates, what are some of the additional things that you might be able to purchase. So, for example, as more sponsorship money came in this year, we were able to purchase more entertainment. We were able to rent golf carts, things like that. So basically, I kind of try and run the Food Day Festival almost like a business. And so when I think of it in that way, I really try to look at return on investment. And so for the 2012 Food Day Festival, basically what it came down to was a total cost of $14,689. So that cost us roughly about $1 per attendee, which was great compared to the 2011 festival where it costed us about $2 per attendee. So what does $1 per attendee or $14,689 buy you? Well, it looks a little something like this. And so here are some pictures from the 2012 festival. Unfortunately, all these pictures were taken very early in the festival before we got super crazy busy. There's our great volunteers trying to make sense of everything. Basically, everyone started flowing in so quickly, and all the vendors decided to come and show up and set up at the last minute that it was pretty chaotic. But at the end of the day, we were pretty happy. No major complaints, no major emergencies or accidents. So all in all, we can say we were pretty happy with the overall turnout. And so what you're seeing here is basically just all these various people that have some type of stake in our local food system coming out and taking part and being able to spread their own personal message to all of the attendees. We'll just keep going through here. We've got the farmers market showed up. That was great. And then one of the key things for the Food Day Festival has always been the workshops. So this year, I believe we had nearly over 20 workshops available, everything from cooking classes to gardening classes, nutrition for kids. We even had some kids' entertainment to keep them busy nearby while their parents attended workshops. That was one of the things that really helps boost attendance in the workshops, is being able to keep the kids occupied while their parents partake in the workshops. Teaming up with some bigger names like Virginia College, they were able to provide some cooking classes using local seasonal ingredients and showing people how to cook seasonally. We even partnered up with a local puppet company to keep the kids busy. And as you can kind of see from the photos, it was perfect weather that day, absolutely perfect weather. Music came out, teamed up with a lot of local musicians who played for next to nothing. And so that was the 2012 Food Day Festival. So now basically where we're at is we're right back to square one again. Just printed the 2013 media kit and have begun to get that out to potential sponsors and volunteers. And probably within about a week or two from now, we're going to go ahead and have the site live to get volunteers and sponsors all signed up. So I hope that kind of gives you a quick sort of behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to put on a big festival of that size. I think that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rene. And the 2013 guide looks really great.
Thanks.
So we have one question for you real quickly. Elise Polly in North Carolina asked, how do you recruit board members? Did they come forward or were they selected? And was there any sort of incentive for them to remain engaged aside from improving the food environment in the United States?
Sure. Well, it's important to have good food at the board meetings. No, so when we first started the Food Day Festival back in 2011, it was, I believe, CSPI approached our local food policy council. So that's how the initial sort of organizers got started, was just people who were involved with our local food policy council. So for 2012, we kind of tapped that same group, but then found other people who could really help us achieve our goals. So it was about teaming up with the media director of the local TV station and teaming up with key people in local government so that we could make certain things happen. So that was really key. But do we really provide any incentives for them to really stay engaged? Unfortunately not. It's really, that's the beautiful thing of it, is everyone is doing it on a complete volunteer basis just because of the passion that they have for improving our local food system.
Great. And one more question from Jenga, one of our other panelists, who's asking, how does your magazine benefit from putting on this festival every year? And what's the purpose for Well Fed?
Sure. Well, the purpose behind Well Fed is, on the surface, we're kind of a sort of run-of-the-mill food and dining magazine, but behind the scenes and sort of our ulterior motive is really to create and continue to grow a media outlet that we can use to help support individuals and organizations that share our beliefs. And one of our strong standing beliefs is the improvement of our local food system. So where Well Fed and Food Day fit in is really quite natural in that the Food Day Festival really mirrors what we do every day with the publication, which is just simply create a platform and continue to grow that platform so that other people can use it to get their own messages out.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention for those who might be new to Food Day on the call, when Rene is talking about CSPI, he's referring to the Center for Science in the Public Interest, which is the sponsor of Food Day, the national sponsor. So we are based out of the Center for Science in the Public Interest, which is a nonprofit consumer advocacy group based in Washington, D.C. So now I think we'll move over to Jenga. And thank you again, Rene, for that great presentation. If anyone has questions for him that we didn't address, please type those in or raise your hand during the Q&A session and we'll get back to you. Okay, so Jenga will go over to you now.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm going to present today. Wait, let me just figure out how to do this first. Show only this. Right, can everybody see that?
Yep, we should be able to see that now. Thanks.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so first of all, I'm the Food Security Coordinator with the Center for Sustainable Engagement and Development, which is a nonprofit based in the Lower Ninth Ward here in New Orleans. We launched a food action planning initiative last year around increasing food access in the Lower Ninth Ward, which is considered a food desert by the USDA. So we saw Food Day in October of last year as an opportunity for us to just get our message out, to raise awareness, and to have more people talking about this issue and bring us closer to to reaching our goals of increasing food access in the neighborhood. So why am I not able to advance the slide? Okay, here we go. So again, our purpose was to raise awareness and bring attention to the issue of food access in the Lower Ninth Ward neighborhood of New Orleans, and bring attention to our efforts to address the issue. Well, just to give everybody a little background, the Lower Ninth Ward is a traditionally underserved neighborhood that is considered a food desert by the USDA and sustained a tremendous amount of damage due to the 2005 Hurricane Katrina levee breach. There is no full-service grocery store in our neighborhood, and residents must travel nearly double the city average neighborhood to supermarket distance to buy groceries. So in April of 2012, the Lower Ninth Ward Center for Sustainable Engagement and Development launched a food action planning initiative aimed at organizing Lower Ninth Ward residents and community leaders to develop a plan for solving the problem of poor food access in our neighborhood. The Food Action Planning Initiative consisted of 8 monthly community planning meetings, an Undoing Racism in the Food System workshop. Approximately 75 residents participated, and out of that, the Lower Ninth Ward Food Access Coalition formed. And if anyone's interested in checking out our food action plan, you can see it at sustainthe9.org/food action plan. So So again, we saw doing an event for Food Day as a great opportunity to keep people engaged and involved in this immediate action, as well as to raise awareness and get our overall message out. And because our goal was to raise awareness about the issue, in our efforts we wanted to do something that would draw lots of media attention and people from all over the city. We wanted to do something that would be eye-catching and pique people's curiosity, as well as to demonstrate our message. So we decided to do a pop-up grocery store. And this was literally what we did was set up a grocery store shelving. We wanted to have a couple of shelves of basic grocery items that we got through a combination of wholesale purchase and donations. And we set this up in the parking lot of the church where we've been doing all our community meetings. And they agreed to allow us to use the space, both the parking lot and indoors, free of charge for that event. We also wanted to have other activities happening throughout the day that would draw people who didn't necessarily want to make groceries on that day. So we offered a children's breakfast given by Community Kitchen Collective. I'm going to list some of our partners as well in talking about this. Health screenings by Tulane Medical Center. Entertainment, we had a couple of different acts on that day, and off-site workshops given by New Orleans Food and Farm Network, cooking demonstrations on site by Grow That Youth Farm. So we had a number of different people involved. And we decided to make this a food day event because, one, a connection with an established national organization we felt would legitimize our, what we were doing and put it on a larger scale. We thought that using the Food Day platform would help to get the word out better. And also being affiliated with Food Day could create future opportunities for support. So I'm going to show you all some photos from the actual event. And again, this was set up in the parking lot of a church here in the lower 9th Ward. And we got about 300 people, approximately 300 people came out on that day, which was actually really significant because there were a lot of different things going on that same day. So we were really happy to have the people come out. This is some of the entertainment that we had, the health screenings. We also had community tables. Let me find my notes from that part. The community tables are really important too. We wanted to make sure that we had we got community leaders from within our neighborhood representing on that day and giving their voice to to the issue. Let me advance a few back. Also, I wanted to mention too that we had our grocery bags printed. If y'all noticed the green grocery bags say "More food, less miles." That's sort of our tagline that we created for this event, and we continue to use it now. The way we set it up was all the food was basically available by donation. It was just easier for us than pricing out each item and setting up a register. So that's back to the community tables. This is Grow That Youth Farm teams doing their, doing their cooking demonstrations and showing people how to do different things with kale. We also had youth volunteers who had been involved in our food action planning initiative during the year, and they kind of served as our grocery store staff. And again, it was really important for us that voices of our community leaders were amplified at this event, and this is the executive director of a neighborhood-based nonprofit. And with each of the community groups we reached out to, we targeted the message to align with their mission. So this group, which is Neighborhood Empowerment Network Association, is focused on economic development in the lower 9th Ward. So we invited the executive director to come and speak about the importance of opening a quality food business in the neighborhood to spur economic development. So we really wanted to try to kind of reach people where they are and bring them in. These are some of the elected officials who came out: our state representative, Austin Badon, the mayor's economic advisor, Amy Quirk, our school board representative, Ira Thomas. Could you stop that, please? Also, another representative, J.P. Morrell. And these are a list of our partners. We found partners who had some connection either with our community or with food access, any kind of food issues. So most of them we already had a relationship with. And in terms of our elected officials, an election was coming up. So that worked out in our favor, and we got many of our elected officials to come out. And also we hired a PR person just to handle, not only getting our word out too, but also getting us some sponsors. So she was able to secure a donation from our city council candidate, Austin Badon. And we continue to keep in touch via email with all of these partners. And Tulane City Center, for instance, is now further involved in the initiative, continuing to offer design services to help us further the goals outlined in the Food Action Plan. Throughout the Food Action Planning Initiative, we maintained a relationship with city officials. The mayor's office issued a proclamation for National Food Day, and the mayor's economic advisor who is also the city liaison for our Fresh Food Retailer Initiative program, which is a city incentive program giving financial incentives to potential grocery store operators who want to open up in underserved neighborhoods. Amy Court came to present that at our event, which was really great. And so that opened up our relationship with the mayor's office even further, and we've had meetings with Amy Court since then. So I'll just end that now with this is our contact information. Again, if anybody's interested in checking out the Food Action Plan, it's there available online. It's sustainthe9.org/Food Action Plan, and anyone can feel free to contact me. There's my number and email address, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Jenga, and that is a great tool to look at your food action plan, because, of course, one of the aspects of Food Day is improving local and state and national policies around food. So I think that could be a great resource for people looking at ways to improve food access in their own communities. I encourage everyone to take a look at it.
Thanks.
So just before we move on to Stacy from Richmond, I wanted to remind everyone that if you have questions or comments, you can type them in on the dashboard, or raise your hand during the Q&A session that we'll have time for at the end. And also, feel free to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about why you joined the call, what you're hoping to get out of this conversation. And you can either type that in or we'll unmute you later. So now we'll move over to Stacy, and I'm making you the panelist here. So, and Stacy, if you're there, you'll just have to remember to unmute yourself if you're not already.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Stacy Lux. I'm the founding chapter chair of Slow Food here in Richmond. We are a small chapter that got started a little over 3 years ago. And Food Day 2012 was the first year that there was any Food Day observances in Richmond. And we kind of hesitantly tried it on because we're, as a chapter, still trying to kind of find our way and find our place in the community. And so let me just move on to my next slide here. Let's see. So I don't have such a snazzy presentation as my previous presenters, but I learned a lot of really key lessons just from listening to them, Rene and Jenga, so thank you very much.
Stacey, sorry to interrupt you. This is Catherine. Can you just hit the OK button so we can see your slides too? Looks like it's still on.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Got it?
Perfect. Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'll go back to, whoops. I was trying to go back to the beginning. Now I can't move through my slides for some reason. Catherine, are you able to move through my slides for me?
Actually, we can take the screen back and just show them from our end, and you can just tell me when to switch.
Okay. For some reason, oh, here we go. Hold on. There we go. Okay.
Great.
Sorry about that. Okay.
No
So,
problem.
as I said, so are we good now?
Yes, we still see the 2012 inaugural year
Okay.
slide.
Okay. And you guys can hear me. Okay. So, yeah, 2012 is our inaugural year, and I was encouraged to organize, to be a Food Day coordinator because I met Lilia at our Slow Food National Congress back about a year ago, and she said, you know, you guys really need to get organized, and we're going to support you in any way we can. And so we were very fortunate to have Catherine come down and meet with our organizing committee, which was just sort of a kickoff meeting in August, and that's when we really got started. And I'm just going to zip ahead to this picture. There's Catherine standing at the podium. What we did, because we got started so late, and we do have a very active food community in Richmond, but it's a little bit, there's no real coherence to it. You know, everybody's just doing their own thing, and I would say that, you know, many of the organizations still feel a little bit like there's replication and duplication, and so we thought, well, maybe this is an opportunity for us to just get everyone around the table and, you know, create some synergy. So Catherine came down for the day, spent some time with me, and we had sent out a notice about the Food Day meeting through this platform that we have here in Richmond called Connect Richmond, and it's run through Virginia Commonwealth University, and it is basically a web-based platform for all the nonprofits in the community, and that's about 3,500, to get the word out about anything that they're doing. So I posted a notice that we were having an open kickoff meeting on Connect Richmond, and we ended up really having no idea. We were kind of expecting maybe about 15 people, but we had about 50 people come to this meeting from a really very diverse cross-section of the community. We had the state reps from the AARP, who it turned out were focusing on hunger amongst the elderly population as a statewide initiative in Virginia for this coming year. So they were very interested. We obviously had, we had our meeting at the Central Virginia Food Bank. We had university groups, community gardeners, homeless shelters, farmers markets, you name it, public school representatives, largely from the city, I would say, as opposed to the outlying counties. And the city-county relations in the greater Richmond area are kind of one of the challenges that we face as a movement trying to grow a coherent food system. So anyway, we had this meeting. We had a hugely successful turnout, and it was, quite frankly, a little overwhelming because we didn't quite know how to corral it. But in our meeting, we split up into subcommittees, and in the end, we didn't actually have events or efforts from all those subcommittees come to pass, but it was a really useful start for us in terms of, you know, seeing these core groups that wanted to work together on an ongoing basis. So I guess the core committees that came out of it were one that wanted to hold some sort of what we called a marquee event on Food Day, and we started out with a very ambitious idea that we would use our 17th Street Farmers Market in downtown Richmond, which is the oldest farmers market in the nation, actually. And we had an idea of having a huge dining table and inviting all of our elected officials and whatnot. But then we realized we really didn't have the time to pull that off in the way that everybody wanted to. So we scaled it back to what you see on this bullet point list is what we call the town hall event. This is another picture here of our kickoff meeting and the rapt audience that we had listening to Catherine. So this little slide is what we ended up with our town hall event, and we had to do this as an invitation-only event because of the size of the venue space. It was a restaurant called Pasture in Richmond, and Pasture is owned by a chef who is very connected in with the Southern Foodways Alliance, and his name is Jason Alley. If anybody ever comes to Richmond, make sure you go to Pasture. So Jason hosted this event, and you can see at the bottom of this sheet there, it's very small, but we had a coalition of 5 key community groups working together on not just this event, but also a week-long series of events through Virginia Commonwealth University, which I'll talk about in a minute. But so we had the Bon Secours Health System, Feed More is our Central Virginia Food Bank, Slow Food RVA, Shalom Farms, which is an organic farm that's connected with the United Methodist Urban Ministries here in Richmond, and they grow food, all of which is donated through the Central Virginia Food Bank. And then we have the Richmond City Health District and the William Burke Community House. So these organizations, along with Virginia Commonwealth University, are really the core of our coalition that we're going to be working with going forward into 2013. And so rather than being able to do a huge festival type event that we envisaged in the marketplace, we scaled it back to something where we thought we could have kind of a meaningful afternoon of dialogue. Our mayor graciously attended. He had signed a proclamation in recognition of Food Day for the Richmond city. And so we kind of turned it into a day of a celebration of 10 years of what our food system had accomplished. We had an amazing slideshow that one of our farmers market vendors had put together that cycled through the whole event. We had a lot of our candidates for city council and incumbent city council people there. We had some school board people there because this past year was a big election year in the city of Richmond. The mayor was up for re-election as well. So we really turned it into a, I guess, the decision leaders in the community, putting them on the spot a little bit. We had speakers across the food system who, while we focused on the celebration and the initial part of the event, we moved it into a Q&A where there were some challenging questions asked. And so we used it as a platform for our food system participants to get some advocacy into the event. Let's see. And then I mentioned Virginia Commonwealth University, which is a huge urban university here in Richmond that occupies actually quite a lot of the downtown area. And VCU has a really active graduate and undergraduate student body involved in food. They have a very active Masters of Social Work program here, and a lot of the MSW graduate students are involved in food justice issues in the community. So they partnered with the William Burke Community House, which is a community organization in the city that is located contiguous to VCU, and they have an urban farm. And so they ran a week of events during Food Day. And you can see the schedule there. They had a panel discussion on food justice. They did a film screening the film Fresh. And then October 23rd, which was the Tuesday before Food Day, every Tuesday the Birdhouse Market and there's a farmer's market there. And so that was an amazing sort of venue, and we had great weather as they did in Savannah. And so they promoted the Food Day message at the farmer's market with the I Eat Real cards and those sort of things. So this was a really fabulous asset to have VCU as part of our coalition and promoting Food Day throughout the week through these various events. Then for Slow Foods part, we are in a partnership with our Hands-On affiliate here in the Richmond area, and we're working on a couple of year-long project with them to do more engagement of youth and family volunteers. So the Saturday before Food Day, we had a day with this group called the Youth Philanthropy Project and spent a morning with them and set them up to do their own filming of a public service announcement. We broke them up into committees, and they addressed different parts of the food system in Richmond. and they did their messages, filmed them in whatever creative ways they wanted, and then our videographer put it all together. It turned out to be about an 11-minute video rather than a short PSA. But this shows them painting the banner that we had hanging at our Food Day event. And we broadcast the PSA at the event as well, and we've been using that in various venues since then. So this was just a reflection of how we incorporated the youth and you know, what high schoolers are feeling about food, not only in their schools but in the community, because we think that youth is a really important aspect of the civic engagement aspect of getting these kids involved in the food debate is really important to us. So this is just one of the little visuals from their filmmaking that they did. And then finally we had the Richmond Public Schools really got interested in becoming involved in Food Day, and with one of our local chefs that is the Jamie Oliver Food Revolution Day ambassador for the Richmond area. She went into the Richmond Public Schools that were interested in getting some training and learning how to cook kale. And so they did a kale taste and serve throughout the week in the Richmond Public School elementary school cafeterias. So here's some pictures of the kids. You can see how excited they are about having some kale. And there on the right is our chef, Ann, not Ann Cooper, Ann Butler, who heads up edible education. She's an incredible asset in our community. And she did some training before Food Day with the RPS food service staff on preparing fresh kale with olive oil. So as you can see, we kind of had a hodgepodge of things, and we basically just said to the folks that wanted to get involved, if they had workplace ideas or faith-based ideas, you know, we essentially said this year we want you to go to the Food Day website, download all the information. We tried to just direct them to all the amazing resources that CSPI has put together. If they were not able to participate in the town hall or, you know, the VCU things that were going on, we viewed our role as really to just get the word out about Food Day. Going back to this slide, you can see the third bullet point. There really is just no awareness of Food Day in our community when we got started whatsoever. So we feel like it was a lot of energy around the Food Day events. This coming year, I think that we want to get together the same group that formed the core for the town hall meeting and get a lot more focused about how we use the day to advance some of our collective initiatives that we would like to see, you know, at the city level and at the regional level. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you so much, Stacy. And we will now turn to your questions and comments from the audience. Oh, we have one already for Stacy. Can you bring up the slide on Food Day events throughout the week one more time?
The VCU one?
Yeah, so this is I assume a publicity poster that they created to publicize the various events going on throughout the week.
That's right. Yeah, this was a poster. You know, this was used all over. It was all over campus. I'm sure that they had it up on their Facebook page and whatnot as well. So really, VCU.
It's a really nice design.
Yeah. Yeah, they.
Okay. Hopefully that was the one that Lindsay Lambert. If you meant that one, hopefully that was the slide you were hoping to see again. So just let me know if it wasn't. Okay. Yeah, she says that was what she wanted to see again. And if all the presenters are all right with it, we can share the slides for this presentation with everyone so you can take a second look or pass them along to your colleagues. And we can send those along with the recording to all of the people who registered for the call. as well as Rene's media sponsorship kit. He's agreed to let people take a look at that and maybe model their own sponsorship and media kits off of what he's done for 2013. And Jenga's fine with sharing her slides as well. So we'll be sure to pass those around to everyone. Does anyone have other comments or questions that we didn't address? Feel free to type them in now, or introduce yourself and say why you joined the call. Well, while we're giving people one more minute, I will thank our panelists one more time and say that we really appreciate all of your work, and we hope to work with you again in 2013. And we do have one question now from Teresa, who asks, Stacy, what will you do differently in 2013?
I think as I said kind of clumsily as I was just finishing up, that personally for Slow Food, speaking on behalf of my organization, one of the things I realized is that we need more partners working with us. We obviously need to get started earlier. And one of the things that I'm actively working on right now is, because we're here in the capital city, is trying to get some state level interest in our Department of Agriculture and our Department of Health and then our Department of Education. I was on this webinar, the Northeast Regional webinar last week, and there were a number of presenters at various levels of government that are Food Day coordinators. And I just realized, gee, in Virginia, our little Slow Food chapter is trying to get this ball rolling. And I would really like to work through my local and regional level government connections to elevate this topic up to the state level here in Richmond and see if we can get some support coming down that way so that we can have a broader impact, not just in Richmond but across the state as well.
Great. And we do have one more question. I know we're going a little bit over time. Hopefully people can stick around. So basically, this person is asking, Tammy Carter is asking and mentioning that they are a member of a newly formed local food council, and they're planning a food day event this year with no budget. And will they be able to utilize generic food day posters and flyers? And we're a food desert, we feel like Stacy that we have no food day awareness here. So Tammy, yes, you will be able to use the generic food day posters and flyers, and everyone can find those on the resources page of foodday.org. So they're downloadable. We'll have the 2013 versions up very shortly, and but for now you can take a look at the 2012 materials that were available and see what you might be able to do with those. And if you have any other questions for our panelists here, please feel free to email us. I'll pull up our final slide here, and then so just wanted to let people know about the Food Day, the upcoming regional webinar for Food Day this Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we encourage you to check out the updates page at foodday.org for archived recordings of those other regional webinars. And as Stacy mentioned, some of them are helpful for getting a sense of what's going on in other regions. And you'll find all the resources that are available on the resources page as well. So thanks again to everyone. We'll save the rest of these questions and make sure that we get back to you by email or get them to the right panelists and have them answered. And thanks so much to everyone who joined. We really appreciate it, and please reach out if you want to start organizing. I encourage everyone to start organizing now. It seems like it's a long time away, but as many of our panelists said today, starting early and starting with the right partners really makes a difference. So we hope you bring this back to your communities and let us know if you have questions. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. We're going to end the call now. And please do contact us at foodday@cspinet.org if you have any questions. Thank you. And thanks again, panelists.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.